We're updating you on construction and refurb projects going on around the Disneyland Resort. What's going up, what's coming down, where we're getting more, and where we're getting less. And we're starting with a new development with the entrance gates at Disneyland. There goes the monorail. We'll be jumping on that later for a view of what's happening in downtown Disney. But the first thing that I want to report on is that, well, last week we had the new scanners being tested at downtown Disney. This week, they are testing 2 scanners at the Disneyland entrance. In this frame, it's the 2 gates on the far right, and then all the gates to this left, and everything else on the other side of the construction walls are still using the cast member with the camera. And as I observed here for just a little bit, it felt like things were going pretty much as they did over the downtown Disney gate. And I also didn't really notice a discernible difference between the classic method side and the new scanners. Everything seemed to be working at about the same pace. As promised last week, I've been posted out here, part of these gates to sort of monitor, where some of the snags might be, how things are flowing with the new system compared to the other ones. They're right next to each other, which is helpful. So far, the only real minor delay might be with children and having to pick up the child to take the picture. But the picture taking process is pretty much the same as it was before in terms of how long it takes. The cast member would raise their camera and they'd find your face and they take the picture. It's the same thing. It doesn't take any longer. It might even be a little bit quicker once everybody gets sort of assimilated and acclimated to taking their own picture, because it's the guest who pushes the button to take the picture. But it's instantaneous. As soon as you take the picture, the gate's open and you're going through. So there's no delay there. If anything, I feel like it might be quicker because there are, and believe me, I've gone through these gates 1,000 times. There are some cast members that take their time taking the picture. They want to say hello and they want to go through the whole thing, and like they want to make your, they want to impart a little bit of themselves onto your morning. So that eliminates that, I guess. If you're in a rush, I guess is what I'm saying. If time is of a concern to you, because I actually kind of like it when the cast member, is like friendly or whatever, but you don't get that with here. So I think in terms of time, it's quicker. I think this is actually quicker. It's not. These are microseconds though, and the micro delays, with the kids being picked up, that kind of thing. I don't think it'll take long for people to sort of get used to this process. Now we'll pause here actually in this frame because this is something that I just noticed on this particular effort. They're showing your current photo and the photo that you have on file for your annual pass, if you have an annual pass. And that's what the cast member is checking on the other end, on the other side of those gates. The cast member is making sure those 2 photos are you. And it would be the same also for multi-day ticket holders who are back on their second visit. They would see 2 photos there. So that's the status with the main gates at Disneyland. I will note that they are still working. Their construction walls are still up on that middle right section, but the walls are down on the opposite side over DCA. There presently are no construction walls up at all. The gates are still not open, but the walls are down. I expect the walls to move to that final section to its left, probably by next week, I'm sure. Meanwhile, back at the main entrance at Disneyland, I keep forgetting to talk about these walls. The walls are gone. Remember that big stretch of walls and that other wall that was here forever and nothing was happening? This is the final product. This is the end result. We still have a green box down there. And that's what it's all come down to, basically. Although I'm sure there's probably some new concrete down there. But it all comes down to that. Meanwhile, the big stretch of walls has moved to the right side, which I assume they're doing something similar. And all this, again, has to do with just a simple light pole. So I'm not sure why it has to be that big, but whatever, who cares? Let's get in the park. I should add that the acclimation process that I was speaking to before includes also cast members where they need to get used to things as well. But I would say, again, for the most part, it's literally the same process as before. It's just who's controlling it. The cast member is still there because they're there to verify the picture that is being taken is you, or like in my case with the annual pass, obviously my picture is stored. By the way, I should mention I used some unfortunate phrasing on our Twitter post on this, where I said facial scan. It's not a digital scan where they're like you're going into the Matrix or your Tron or something like that. It's just a picture. It's the same picture that they've been taking for the past 5 years. So you cannot get into Disneyland today, or last week or the month before or last year, you couldn't get into Disneyland, be that with a single day, multi-day, or annual pass, without having your picture taken. It's been that way at least post-COVID, and that is the case because people were abusing the multi-day ticket. I'm going to give you a little backstory here. They were abusing the 3-day pass or the 5-day pass. A guest would buy one, a 5-day pass, get the discount, and then resell them. And so a different person was using each day of that ticket. So that was how they limited abuse. The reason why they don't do this at other parks is because I think they don't have multi-day passes like Disneyland does. That's why the picture is taken. Those pictures, they're not using that picture to track you around the park or anything like that. And like I said, it's not like the Matrix has you now. Hi. It's not some sort of Big Brother type situation. It's the same picture they've been taking for years. And further, they're not keeping that picture. They're not storing it. That was one of the issues. That was the delay, I believe, if I understand the story correctly. The reason why it took forever to get going, because this whole thing started a year ago. It's been a year since they started this process. Part of that was whether or not, for how long could they keep that picture. They keep hours for the annual pass holders, because they don't have to take your picture every single time you come. And I'm sure there's some kind of language in the contract where you have to give consent to do that. But as I understand it, that picture they take is deleted at the end of your ticket run. So if you a 3-day ticket, he got me. Then they keep the picture for 3 days. Then after that, it's done. You actually are more likely to be tracked. Now, one final thing. You are more likely to be tracked using this than you are by having your picture taken at the gate. Disney has you already if you use the app. They have you already if you use a Magic Band. There are RFID chips in the Magic Band, and the app can track your location anywhere in the park, and actually beyond. They can even continue to track your location for like an hour after you shut the app down. So just, for those of you, the conspiracy theorists out there about what the purpose is of the picture, it's just to make sure you are who you are, so that you don't reuse the ticket if you buy a 3 or 5 day multi-day ticket. Great moments with Mr. Lincoln, and the Main Street Opera House is next. Just checking in to see if there's any status on the signage. My assumption is that they are making a new sign, perhaps a sign that actually announces the Walt Disney Show. I had mentioned in a previous week that I was hoping that they would put a marquee poster out there. We may get more than that. We may get a whole new sign. Meanwhile, doesn't that gold trim look beautiful up there? I don't know if I've ever really noticed or paid attention to the Opera House in that regard. Heading up to the castle, Sleeping Beauty Castle, and very soon we're going to see new decorations pop-ups here. We're a little over a month away from the beginning of the 70th, but one thing you'll note is that there are actually a couple early little indicators. Those flags on top of the turrets, those are the 70th anniversary colors, the purple and blue, I think it is. Certainly that's the purple. There you go. So that's just, they've gone ahead and started with that. And there's 3 of them now. There's 1, there's 2, and there is 3. So I would say probably in the next couple of weeks, we'll start seeing a little bit here and there, kind of like the way that they phase into decorations for the holidays. Meanwhile, I noticed at Snow White's Grotto, they've got some barricades up, and it looks like they're doing some more paint work on the wishing well. They weren't actively doing any painting at the moment. They were just putting up the barricades and the painter's wrap there, the plastic wrap to protect, but it looks like they are going to be doing some more painting there. Not a lot going on around the park. There's a few key stories that we'll be getting into later. So I had an opportunity to check in on some of the other, less common discussions that we have in the park, and that is Tom Sawyer Island, took a raft over, and we're going to do a little roll call and see what's working and what isn't. Obviously, you still can't get up to the stage, the Fantasmic stage area with Lafitte's Tavern. Looks like Dead Man's Grotto is open. Davy Jones' heart is still in the box. The effects are still working with the treasure. And the pirate in the dungeon who never shuts up is still not shutting up. On the other side, there again is the barricade. Ducks are still making a day of it there. While I was here, actually, before we get into the rest of the roll call, I noticed some guys working there on the Golden Horseshoe. See that? There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's more on the left over there too. Maybe 6 guys up there
We'll check in on the Golden Horseshoe in a little bit, but let's get back to our roll call. The bilge pump is still not working today. Same for the pirate that you bring up out of the water with the treasure chest. In previous visits, the pontoon bridge was working at least, but this week, the pontoon bridge is closed. Now that's upsetting. I kind of was expecting your stuff, but I was not expecting that. We'll go up to the treehouse in a little bit. The water, obviously, this hasn't been running for a long time, but the water's still not running in the stream. Oh man, are you kidding me? This bridge too? The bridge is closed. This is upsetting. I don't like that. There's no reason. Hey, the caves are still open. That's a good thing. But there's no reason for those bridges to be down. They require little to no maintenance. The only reason why they're doing that is because they don't want to have the cast member, I'm assuming, the extra cast member that maybe those things require, I guess, although I never see a cast member in those places. I don't know why they would close those bridges. I just can't, for the life of me, I cannot imagine what potential pitfall could be happening there or what could be wrong. They're just bridges. They should never be closed. By the way, on our way off the island, still fuming over the status of things. I did see that plume of smoke. You guys may have seen on social media on Friday. It was all over the place. There was a car fire. And when I was standing there, I'm like, that kind of looks like about the parking structure. And I assumed based on the level of smoke coming out of there that it was something like a car fire. And sure enough, that is precisely what it was. But they got everything sorted by the end of the day. I mean, it caused some problems getting people in and out. Matter of fact, they even closed Tiana's Bayou Adventure for a second. Just to make sure that there was no fallout from that fire. But by the way, I've heard reports that Tiana is now working well again at the Florida Bayou Tiana. I didn't get a chance to ride on this day, but I do have this footage from the train the other night, and you can see that she is fully operational. She is arms waving about and singing vociferously there in the Florida Bayou. Let's go check in as promised at the Golden Horseshoe, where the scrim had been up. It's down now, so we can see what they've been working on. In previous efforts, I'm pretty sure that Golden Horseshoe signage there was not there or covered up or something, but I don't remember that being there before. But it looks different to me, right? That looks different. So I look back and it looks like they've inverted the color scheme, where before it was a dark, like an orangish color in the background, and the lettering was that blonde, yellowish color. They have inverted that. Now the background is the blonde, yellowish color, and the lettering is the dark orange. Okay. I don't know why they needed to do that, but okay. It's fine with me. I don't care either way. There's some more crew working on the side. They are working quickly, and there's a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of guys here. There was 6-8 guys working, and all these guys are doing paint, and they're cleaning up the trim and all the detail around the building itself. Same on the left-hand side as well. We'll jump over real quick to check in on Big Thunder, where there's no trash, but the water is just a very murky, ugly green. I sure hope they can do something about that. And of course, the water's still not on. The waterfall here is still not on. Matterhorn, we're still on track for it to close on April 28th. Still don't know what it is they'll be working on, but as I mentioned, I don't think it's going to be anything too invasive, because I do think they want to get this thing open by May 16th. Here's an interesting development. We're at Small World, and the clock face, the clock is gone. It's just a 2D image, and I don't know how to process this. It's like the situation at the Jolly Holiday.
I fear this is going to be another one of those situations like the Jolly Holiday with a sign, and I don't know. I feel like there's another one, but there's no scaffolding around that face. There's no scaffolding, which suggests they're not going to be in any kind of hurry to fix that or change that. Are they really going to go with a 2D image there? Again, I feel like I'm panicking for nothing. I have anxiety for nothing. Probably not a full-time situation, a permanent situation, but it sure, it troubles. It troubles, because it's not a lot, but it goes towards it's less. It's less.
Man, I sure hope that we get some good news on that one. But let's go ahead and keep going on our tour around the park. Man, that's bummed. That is less. Okay, we're talking about less and more. That is less. I think that's the new pavement down there. The walls that we mentioned this last week, the walls, they moved the walls around a little bit, and I'm pretty sure because there were walls up here in this space. I think that's new pavement. I was going to try to look over the other side from the Disneyland Railroad, but I found an empty and immovable train there at Toontown, so I assumed the train is down, so we won't be able to check on that. A couple more odds and ends here at Disneyland before we head over to downtown Disney. People keep asking me about the bathrooms at Adventureland and what's going on there. The answer is nothing. Nothing has been going on here for, well, ever since that situation ever since they reopened the bathrooms, they haven't done anything. They put those walls up, they opened the bathrooms, they put those walls up, and then since then's nothing. Every time I look through there, I get the same image, the same sort of staging process. Everything is still exposed. There's a hole in the ground, but nothing is happening back there. Indiana Jones is still closed. Adventureland Treehouse, the buckets aren't working. Nothing happening in the queue of Indiana Jones. That's same situation as last week. So let's go to downtown Disney, where I should say on Monday, I walked by Tortilla Joe's and found this guy doing some, well, not welding, whatever it is the opposite of welding is. They're taking down that awning, and I figured, okay, he's going to work on that for a little bit, and that awning will be down fairly soon. Came back on Friday, 4 days later, and sure enough, that awning is gone. All of the awning to the left has been removed, and it looks like he's working on, or it has been working, most of the right side of that awning is gone as well. It looks like he's trying to take off that final beam right there. He's cutting that thing in half right there. That's happening as we speak. And then they'll disassemble that part of the awning. Come back out to the front to see how things look otherwise. And I was wondering, oh my gosh, did they take out the backside of that building? I wasn't sure if it was, a light effect or the reflection or something. No, that thing it's gone inside. That whole building, not only has the back of the building been blown out, but it looks like the roof has been blown out too. There's sunlight coming into this building from the top and from the side. You can see that? Yeah, the roof is gone. You can see the concrete up there, for the structure. Take a look through the other side, and more of the structure is being exposed there. Lots of studs and concrete. It looks really, it looks really invasive and blown out from the inside. It makes me again wonder just how much of this building are they going to keep. Backside is now behind scrim and scaffold, and my assumption is that that's mostly just a plain wall there. So my guess is that could be a situation where they're going to repaint it, remove the Tortilla Joe's sign. Hard to say. So that's coming down. Tortilla Joe's is coming down. How about Earl's? Earl's is going up. I love it. We've got more steel this week, more horizontal steel coming into place, which is really great, and we're getting to see more and more of the body of this building and how that's going to look. And where we saw some welding happening on the other side, the opposite of welding, we are seeing actual welding here. There's two guys over here actually joining these pieces of steel together. These, what are they, I-beams? Bringing those things together, very exciting. It's moving pretty quickly at this point now. This is the best part of construction, is when they get out of the dirt phase and they start getting into the construction phase. And pretty soon we'll see this thing develop and reveal itself in short order. While we're here, we'll report that we have a resident. We found out earlier this week that Nectar Life is going to be the retail location moving into this storefront next to the D-Lander shop. Look for Nectar Life there, and then look for Lululemon to appear in the old ESPN Zone building. I can't imagine they're going to fill that whole thing. So we are still expecting a couple more retail shops to be moving in here, but Lululemon so far is the one location that we know of for sure, and it could be also the Bopogo, I think it's called, the milk tea joint that may be going in there as well. Let's get on the monorail and look real quick at the back side of that Tortilla Joe's building. Man, it is just gone back there. Look at that. Gone. I wonder what they're doing. Like, are they just going to rebuild that whole thing? Fascinating. All right, let's go to DCA. Got a couple more stops. A really cool one coming up from Grizzly River Run. I can't wait to show you what's happening at Grizzly River Run. There's Carthay Circle. Yeah, yada, yada, yada. Let's get on the Ferris or the Fun Wheel. Pixar Pal Around. Okay, where are we at? We should be in more dirt. Man, dirt fade is so boring. I wish they didn't have that Luigi's building. You know, they built that thing just recently, and now it's blocking our view of everything. Okay, so there we go. That's a little better. Yeah, that's all dirt. The dirt has now moved almost all the way to the left of what's our visible space here. That was blacktop. That was pavement not long ago. Looks like we got a water truck out there, making sure that the dust and everything stays settled. That's Radiator Springs Racers. I think that the it's moving. Oh, there you go. You got Downey or Mount Downey and Mount Downey Jr. Although it looks like Mount Downey Jr. might be getting a little bit bigger. And that's it. Nothing really much more to see here. It's just dirt. Let's go to Grizzly Peak. And I was doing this. I was just filming some B-roll for another video, and I'm like, you know, no big deal. We've already reported on the geysers, and then lo and behold, I see this. They have last week we had the geyser in the water and the geyser on the left. This week the geyser on the right has been turned on as well, and my goodness, was that a towering flume of water coming out of both sides of the river there, which is fantastic. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen geysers that big before. It was incredible. I had to stand by and watch. I had to get it again. I mean, here we go. It starts off like medium height, and then the one on the left, and then immediately starts shooting. And this is way more water than was coming out last week when we came by here. It was twice as big, it seems like. Yeah, here's a shot from last week, and it was barely, not even twice, it's 5 times as big. But even more impressive, or I should say equally impressive, is the one on the other side, which again was not even on last week, but across the way, very impressive. That's enough water. The height and volume of water coming out of either one of those is enough to, I think, get on some guests as they travel by, especially if there's even just a little bit of wind. Let's see if we can stand by for the one on the right here for a second. Boats go by. And there it goes. This is the one on our right, I should say. This would be on the guest's left. We've got both going now at the same time. And that is actually a really impressive sight right there when they have both of those geysers going at the same time. I'm really happy with that.
Hi. Gotta say, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm more than happy. That's more than I was expecting, actually. I just refreshed my memory. Was that the third one that has come online since last week? Did it always go that high? Those are really impressive. Really impressive. The one on the left and the one on the right, not the one in the water. That was still kind of low. But that one I actually kind of remember going a little higher than it is today. But I was satisfied with the geysers from last week. But this is just next level, man. They really went for it. I mean, I can't. That's so good. That, fresh baked, is more.
And with that, we'll recap the construction and refurb projects ongoing right now in the park. Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln has been closed now for a year. It has been closed, well, almost a year. We're 2 weeks shy of a year. Incredible. Don't have a date yet. Small World is closed, but reopening on April 25th. That's about 3 weeks from now. Indiana Jones Adventure closed, also reopening on April 25th, about 3 weeks from now. No date still for the Tinkerbell meet and greet at Pixie Hollow. Dumbo is going down for 2 days, April 22nd and 23rd. Yeah, 2 days also for King Arthur Carousel, but that's May 7th and May 8th. 2 days for Mad Tea Party, May 5th and May 6th. The Tiki Room is closing on April 28th. We don't have a date yet for that. Same for the Matterhorn bobsleds. Those are closing on April 28th. No date there. Redwood Creek Challenge Trail is closed right now and will be reopening on April 11th. The Sorcerer's Workshop and Anna and Elsa's Royal Welcome, both of those are going to be closing on April 28th, reopening on May 12th. No idea what they're doing there. I may have to pop in to the animation building and see if I can't find out what's happening with those two attractions. And then finally, Soaring Around the World closing on April 28th and then reopening on May 2nd. That's our show, guys, this week. I do hope you enjoyed. Be sure to check out our most recent State of Disneyland report, where I just espouse how wonderful Disneyland is. We do it every 2 weeks. Catch our most recent State of Disneyland report. And then until next time, guys, thanks for watching. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And fresh mate.